All right. Well, Cyndi, you want to welcome everybody to the Great Shave?
Oh, absolutely not. I'm going to leave that for you, Ron.
All right. That sounds good. So I'm Ron Gula. This is Cyndi Gula. We are very excited to assist CyberGandalf today going through a series of transformations. I hear CyberGandalf off in the distance somewhere. Where is he?
I think
CyberGandalf.
Hello, Ron.
Wow.
Oh, hey, CyberGandalf, come on in. How's it going? Let's check out this costume. Look at this. Look, this is amazing.
It's not a costume.
This is, no, this is real life. This is real.
You shall not pass.
Awesome. Let's have a seat, CyberGandalf. Can you cast a spell and turn the music off? That was awesome.
Wow.
CyberGandalf, what brings you out on the internet today?
I've walked long and far, and I am afraid, dear Gulas, that the evil of Sauron still stalks these lands in our computers.
What evil be that may be, Hobbit stuff.
Oh, I need a pipe with something in it. That's legal in Maryland, isn't it?
It is now.
And Virginia.
Are these evils on the network, perhaps?
Oh, yes. We have seen a great many evil. This is why I have pulled together a merry band today that will be joining us as guest speakers to talk about how we can do something about it, as well as, of course, raise money for a good cause, the Women's Society of Cyberjutsu.
Could we use the power of the internets and cast the person? I'm just not even going to try speaking medieval.
You're not
Mari,
dressed for it.
That's right. Well, no, we're rocking and rolling here. Very good. So, hey, Mari, do you want to say hi to CyberGandalf?
Hey, so I feel like I fit in because I have my blanket wrapped around and it looks like a cape. So it's a little chilly in Vegas right now. So, but hey, everybody, I am Mary Galloway. I'm the CEO of the Women's Society of Cyberjutsu. We are based out of Northern Virginia, but we are nationwide. We do hands-on cybersecurity training for women and girls and minorities to get into the industry, to stay in the industry, and, you know, just to grow. And we build a community around them to help them be successful.
That's phenomenal. And through the power of donations, we're up to like $10,000 right now, right?
Yay.
Yes, so I pledged $2,500 for Women's Society of Cyberjutsu. Wizards don't need money anyway. The Gulas have pledged $2,500. We have $1,000 pledged by Keenan Skelly of Shifted. Ann Johnson of Microsoft has pledged $1,000 and a $1,000 match to all donations. George Orchilles has also pledged $1,000. And Ray Redacted has also offered a match, but I'm not sure what amount that is. That's what I've seen so far.
Awesome.
That's
and we
phenomenal.
thank all of you guys for donating, and we've been doing this since 2012, so it's just really good to see the community come together to help us continue our mission.
And I think have some fun, because I think a lot of times people think we're way too serious, and really this definitely will demonstrate we are not that serious.
So CyberGandalf,
really not gone to DEF CON.
oh boy. So CyberGandalf, do you have a message you want to discuss or talk about with the members of the internet here?
As mighty as my powers are, and I have fought the Balrog and said, "Thou shalt not pass," I'm afraid that time and time again, we find that invaders, the orcs, the goblins, the Ents, can't keep them out. They find their way into our networks, which is why I've come bearing the message of assumed breach.
Assumed breach? That seems like a depressing yet realistic thing that we need to think about on our networks today.
It's not depressing, Sir Gula, if you say it in a sonorous voice. Assumed breach.
I'm not going to do that.
I don't have a spell for you. Yes, assumed breach is knowing that the orcs will get past the barricades. They will slaughter the soldiers at the watch. And it's the question of what can we do to save the brave townspeople and keep them safe after.
And are these spells of compliance? Is spells of compliance going to save us?
Spells of compliance, charlatans magic. Real magic is knowing that you can detect and respond, to identify what they're doing, to correlate, to ensure that you have action, to know where you stand in your network.
Do we have a glowing sword so when they get close, we can see that they're near?
I'm afraid the closest we have to that is what passes for a sim these days.
Well, they glow red all the time, even when there's no attacks. So that's interesting.
Yes.
Is there a spell, maybe like a Scythe spell, where I can see where these things are coming from and quickly test how quickly my defenses can detect these orcs, whether they be virtual or not?
So there are no silver magic missiles, but there are platforms that can help. Scythe will definitely give you a +2 to initiative when you roll with your dungeon master.
I swear to everybody watching, we have had nothing to drink. There's no orc potions or anything like that going on.
There should be.
There might be before we're done here.
I think some of our guest speakers are taking the opportunity now
Yes.
to steel themselves to build resolve for when they too will have to interact with one of these characters. I see you, Mrs. Bolton.
Does anybody have any questions for CyberGandalf from our panelist here? No, I think not.
I want Lord Steed to ask me a question.
CyberGandalf, you're looking great. What I want to know is, has there been a golem following you, constantly trying to undermine your power and the power of your tools? I would like to see a glowing sword. We need to see more magic. CyberGandalf.
Well, unfortunately, each party must take their own journey. The many tools that are out there can but help them find success at the end of it. Each must take their own quest, for security, like magic, is unique, personal, and contextual.
Whoa, well said. I really like that answer. I think we should have more magic on the internet.
It sounds like no matter what your tools are, you really need the ability to kind of see how well you can assume that breach and detect it.
And create your own team in order to work together to put all the things together.
Might not be a red team or a blue team, perhaps a purple team.
Yes, the purple flag does fly across these lands, bringing hobbits, elves, dwarves all together to fight out the hordes.
Yes. And this is what people look like in a sock after a while, right? If they haven't got this kind of telemetry to work with.
Absolutely. Not everyone can have a crystal ball to really understanding what's happening. And it's often that you find that Jane in accounting doesn't even know the policy or the process. You have to train, you have to do it together. Only combined can we defeat the might of Sauron.
And CyberGandalf, the great oracle that you are, you have news. Are we going to be visited by other travelers who are going to share information about how to secure their networks and data today?
Yes, a great friend of mine from the Mystic East will be joining us next.
Excellent. Do you need to go and summon him next?
I do. Unfortunately, that's something that I can't magically do from here. I have to go to his door and bring him.
All right. Well, let us wish CyberGandalf safe travels as his next friend comes to share the good news, more good news of internet security.
Fly, you fools!
This is a new thing I have never ever really done before, with the live shaving, live streaming, have a guest, and all sorts of good stuff. So Mari, does this happen every day in Las Vegas?
Yeah, down on Fremont Street.
Yep.
So about 5 o'clock, you start to see the difference in the crowd down there. So yeah, we've got some interesting people.
Are they dressed like CyberGandalf?
Yeah, and like nuns and like
Batman.
naked people and Batman and
come on, we gotta say Elvis.
Elvis.
Come on, Elvis.
I haven't seen Elvis yet. So I don't think Elvis hangs out on Fremont Street. I think he's more along the middle of the streets where the churches and stuff are to get married. I haven't seen Elvis on the strip or on Fremont Street. But I'll tell you guys tonight because I'm going down there tonight. So
excellent. And hopefully we can see you at DEF CON this year in person. We'll see if that ever happens or not.
Yeah, so that's the plan. However, I only go to DEF CON to get the badge because I don't like waiting in lines.
Spoken like a true
too many
DEF CON
people.
attendee.
Yeah.
Can you give us a little bit?
Stuff.
Can you give us a little bit more detail of Cyberjutsu?
Yeah, so we are going into, I guess, yeah, this is our ninth year. And basically what we do is we'll do hands-on training, so workshops, study groups, classes to help women and men. Men can participate too. Our focus is just on women, but to help them get that experience with different technologies, different certifications, help them get the certifications they need to get into the industry. We also work with middle school and high school girls to help them get encouraged about STEM and, you know, consider a career in some sort of STEM. And that's really cool because they're all on their phones, they're all on technology, but they never realize that, hey, I could have a career in this and like do something more than just play on it. And so we provide that resource and that environment for them to explore and to grow. And it's a family, you know, we're a community.
What do you think is the trigger that gets most people interested? Like before they knew what they didn't know, what is that thing where you get that glisten in their eyes?
When they figure something out, when you give them a challenge and they're able to like figure out that first step, it's like, oh, okay. That light bulb goes off and you can see it. And there's a lot of, especially in the adult women, they're like, I just don't know what to do. I don't know where to go. When they do that first cyber challenge or that CTF, it's like, oh, I can really, really do something like this. And they really get into it. And that's when you start to see them just take off and excel.
Yeah, I know a lot of times the research that I've done or have seen is the women need to know why. Why are we doing this cyber thing? Why is it important? And a lot of times the industry basically says it's somebody else's problem.
Right.
And it's not personal. We're forgetting to see and tell people this is your personal responsibility. It is very local. It's not just about national security and things. So, I mean, can you talk to any aha moments with people that you've dealt with when they realize I can do this and then I need to do this?
So yeah, there's plenty of stories. We have one girl, Gina, who actually is a part of BCA, who won one of the funds last month. She came to us and she was like, I want to be a pen tester. And she, you know, she went to the classes, she went to the workshops. And I think it was her first cyber competition where she realized I can actually do this. And then she was able to implement that in her own personal life. And she was like, I need to do this for my family, for the folks that I'm interacting with, for the companies that I plan to work with. Right. So she took it upon herself to continue to learn and take those skills and just apply everything that she's doing to the industry. And she's super successful now, and giving that back to others after her. And so that's the cool part about it too. Like once you get to a certain place, you have to go back and reach into the community and continue to bring other folks up with you. And that's what we try to enforce with, you know, our members and our community.
That's phenomenal. Are any of them get the stereotypes that, you know, everybody in cybersecurity is a white male with the hoodies and they kind of stink a little bit, or, you know,
maybe they don't shave.
Right. So when they come to us, yes. But once they join, we call it the Cyberjutsu tribe because we believe in having a tribe. Once they get in and start to see folks that don't actually look like that, they're like, okay, I can definitely be a part of this group. I can be a part of this community. And I know that I have a place in here. So yeah, we'll always hear, yeah, I saw a bunch of white guys and they had these hats and all this stuff. And I was like, yeah, okay, I'm in cyber too. So what does that mean? You can do this.
Yeah, I really like the idea that we're trying to define the industry ourselves and not be defined by what everybody else says. And that just is going to take a lot of people getting out there and telling their stories. Not the what, but the why. Why do we do it? Why is it important? And why do they have a personal responsibility to join and be part of it? Because it's not slowing down. I mean, that's the other thing. It's like, hey, if you want to be in a growth career, here you go, jump on in.
Yeah.
And do they have any misconceptions about cybersecurity from the movie industry or what they see on TV?
Well, everybody wants to be a pen tester. I guess that's like the hot thing. Even me back in the day when I first started, I was like, yeah, I want to be a hacker. I want to hack stuff and do all that. But once you start to learn and grow, you realize there's so many other areas of cyber where the skills that you've had from another industry or another career can directly translate into that space. So we see a lot of folks coming in like, yep, I want to do pen test plus, I want to do ethical hacker, I want to do OSCP. And then as they go through the different workshops that we host and the different trainings, they're like, I actually kind of like the blue team side or the policy side or the machine learning aspect of cybersecurity. And so it helps them figure out where they want to be based on their skill sets.
Yeah. I know Ron and I actually started earlier in trying to say cyber's kind of like being a doctor.
Right.
If you want to be an eye doctor, that's an eye doctor, or heart specialist, or foot doctor. I mean, there's so many variety, but people say cybersecurity like it's one conglomerate, and it's really so striated and so many different areas to go in. And again, we have to really do a better job to demonstrate it's not about one thing. We need artists. We need artists to come in and English majors to articulate the complicated to the understandable. So,
and business majors, because they can take the technical and relate it to the business side and the ROI and talk that language to those people. And so everybody's needed in the industry.
Yeah. Just to add in here. So I worked for 10 years at Citigroup, and hiring people was always difficult, right? So we built a program of, kind of to your point, of bringing people straight out of college, and they would do 9 months in offense on what we call the vulnerability assessment team, 9 months in the SOC, so technical blue team, and then 9 months under the information security officer team. And then after that, they would kind of choose what they wanted to go, but that way they got, at least a real hands-on keyboard idea of what those 3 things look like, and then allow them to choose. But yeah, everyone always wanted to come to the offensive team first, because that's that's what they saw and what looked the hottest, right?
But that's a really good way. That's how the doctors do it. You have residencies, you do rotations, you actually have ability to see all the different areas before you specialize in something. And as an industry, again, we can leverage what they've already done in healthcare and really start analyzing what Ron and I have been calling data care. Like it is a data care industry at the end of the day. There is no such thing as big tech and then cybersecurity. There is no difference between your IoT, device, your refrigerator, and cybersecurity. It's all under data care. And if we get people to understand everything is about data care, we're all under that umbrella and we can march forward. And I think that the message is a lot easier for people to understand that it is my personal problem and responsibility.
Yep.
Tatyana or Chris, do you have a question for Mari?
No, I think the point is extremely well made, and it's something that, I try to preach as well. You don't have to be a bits and bytes expert to be able to participate in this field. You just have to be able to connect with other people that have the like-minded reasons as to why they're in this field. I think collectively we all want to do something good, and that's why we're here. That's why we're having this conversation. So no, I would only detract from what was already very well said.
My question is, when can we work together?
Now let's do it.
So, I'm at R Street, and we're working on multiple different engagements, and we're trying to, I feel very strongly about women and sort of a broader array of expertise participating in cybersecurity. We started the Making Space Pledge to sort of to encourage more people to be shown as the face of cybersecurity on panels and at events and conferences. And now we're working with Share the Mic and Cyber to start a cyber base for Black professionals in cybersecurity. So I would love to work with you guys and sort of build that tribe like you're talking about.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's link up next week.
I definitely want to thank everybody who's donated, but do you need other things? Like, do you need access to cyber ranges? Do you need computers? Do you need guest speakers? Do you need mentors? What kind of other ways can people get involved?
All of it. So we are a volunteer run organization. So I do have a full-time job. I work for Palo Alto as a customer success architect. So we're always looking for volunteers. We have a number of different webinar series that people can join. So Day in the Life, where you talk about the day in the life of a specific role in cybersecurity. Career Conversations is typically with higher level women and talking about their journey to whatever position they've gotten to. We need instructors for workshops. We're getting ready to launch a GCP bootcamp with Google as a sponsor for that. So we're looking for additional sponsors and speakers and instructors for that program. Our conference is coming up June 19th. So Cyberjutsu Con, second year, yay. First year was really exciting. I had a lot of people that showed up. So the call for papers is open for that right now. So make sure you get that in. If you want to sponsor, we're looking for sponsors for that so that we can be sure to provide the different cyber ranges and things like that to the participants and the members. So pretty much anything.
That's phenomenal. Well, I really want to thank everybody, but I see off in the distance, and I'm starting to hear a little bit of music for our next guest here. The music's coming. It's going to be here a second now. Oh, any second. Thanks, my awesome sound engineer. Oh, what is that?
It's mysterious.
Who is our guest?
Oh my God.
Oh, please.
I'm just glad I
Your
didn't
guest.
flinch. Normally I flinch when Bryson does that.
That's not Bryson.
Yes,
Oh, good.
kind sir, who art thou?
You may. I didn't get to tell you to turn the music off.
He read your
Oh,
mind.
here, let's rewind that.
It was
Let's
it
cue
was
the
your
music
look.
again. Cue the music one more time.
So hard to find good help these days.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Kind sir, welcome. Welcome to the show. Who art thou?
You may solely refer to me as Master.
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 Master. Okay.
Just Master.
Just master. What are you a master of?
I am skilled in the arts, many martial arts. My particular specialty is Jiu-Jitsu, which I understand your community of information security is quite fond of.
Yes, we are very fond of Cyberjutsu, Cyberjutsu, master. We are not on script here. This is just pure entertainment.
I think they can tell that this is totally just made up as we go.
For charity.
For charity.
And beyond.
And beyond. All right, back to Master. There is another great disciple in our midst. Master Dmitry Alperovich has spoken many times about the 1-10-60, the concept of being able to respond to an opponent. There is also another great disciple amongst us, Tim Malcolmvetter, who has published a blog specifically tying jiu-jitsu to information security. So many of us are white belts. It takes us a long time to understand where we have overextended, where are the weaknesses in our defenses, and it takes so long for us to respond because we haven't mastered the art.
Tell me more about this 1-10-60, master. What I don't understand this.
1-10-60 is the concept that we have to understand our opponent. No matter how long we have to train, no matter how few black belts there are that are out there. I don't know why I was going with that accent.
Top of the day to you, master.
Top of the day to you, master. Hip, hip, cheerio, it's ever I saw it.
That's next. That's later.
Back in character.
1-10-60.
1-10-60. Yes, right. Thank you. 1-10-60 is the true expression of the art. We have 1 minute to detect, 10 minutes to respond, and 60 minutes. On average, these are not hard numbers. These are numbers we should consider, right? It's more the concept. It's more the art of the martial art.
It's a target.
It's the science of the martial art.
The target.
5 minutes, other days 30 seconds. It averages out.
Look, you want them to tap out as quickly as possible, right? Put those bastards on the ground. And the key to that is, of course, that you have to continue to practice the art, right? We need to see that lethality in information security. You can't respond if you don't train, right? In the military, we say, train and sweat, so you bleed less in war. something like that.
So do I need, like, is there, can I do this with any technology? If I'm an open source shop and I'm not using Palo Alto and CrowdStrike and FireEye, can I still do the 11060 with my own technologies?
So there is going to be a guest later who is going to discuss the haves and the have-nots. But for now, I would say that it's practicing for your level of opponent, right? You have to face across the mat, just as you have to face across some dusty Western town against Big Black Bart, since I guess I'm more of a Western samurai here in the 1800s. And so you really have to find that opponent for yourself and up to your capabilities. I think all too often in this space, we forget that the mission, right, of what were the Japanese feudal lords called? Daimyo? The daimyo?
Daimyo.
Of the daimyo is to take care of their people, not just to do cybersecurity.
And there's got to be some consideration of the opponent. You don't put all of your effort against a lesser opponent. You meet the opponent at the lesser amount of force as well. Or you overrun them completely.
Yes.
Or something like that.
Tatyana, do you have a question for Master?
Oh, well, Master, what is your, do you have a favorite example of using such fantastic jujitsu against opponents?
This is again where I am quite fond of the martial arts of Purple Team. Both understanding offense and defense in perfect yin and yang and balance and harmony.
And using their capabilities against them at some points.
Yes, allowing the defender to get to see and understand the offense, to learn the sweep over and over again so that you can counter it. Conversely, as offense, to understand deeper about how the defender does and defends against those so that you can continue to work together to come up with a counter to a counter to a counter.
Is there like an acronym or something about detecting these attack things that people might use to apply to this 11060 rule, Master?
You stumped me.
Maybe the MITRE.
Oh. I did not get you going that way.
MITRE.
I am not doing that character. So the attack framework is good as a compendium of the many different martial art moves that there are. But it's worth knowing, just as no master knows everything, you have to study multiple arts. MITRE attack is also not a complete comprehensive guide to everything. There are constantly new techniques that we are discovering from the many schools of jiu-jitsu across the land. There are, of course, our adversaries who are constantly scheming and coming up with different martial art moves to employ. Attack is a great common vernacular for all great martial artists to share and speak a common language. But it's also worth noting that it is rare that you kill an opponent or disarm an opponent with one move. Those moves, that kata in order is so important. And again, that's where I've seen many errors of MITRE attack of looking at as I have mastered this move and I have mastered that move, when you have to put them together to understand what that state is with your opponent.
Mr. Steed, any questions for Master Cyber? sounds like a Christmas Carol character.
Well, my only question for Master, really goes back to CyberGandalf, actually. Did you guys pass in the night on your way in as he was coming out? And what message did he give to you on his way out, on his long journey?
Cybermaster. Damn it, Ron, you got me.
CyberGandalf.
I'll get better back at the next character. Okay, this is struggling here. CyberGandalf comes from a realm of fantasy. You may have heard this sometimes in vendor pitches, but we mere mortals live in a world of flesh and bone and muscle. CyberGandalf has left this plane. We don't know when we'll see him again. We have pictures and video of his passing. That's why I followed. I speak in reality. I speak of taking an opponent by the hand by the neck and putting them to the ground. That's all I got.
Understood, Master. We're still waiting for a glowing sword.
Oh, there's time. There's time. Are there ways one
Doesn't
can
glow. Sorry.
Master Cyber? Are there whack? Are there techniques you can do to practice this on your own?
Yes. In fact, I'm going to hand this over to one of the disciples who has joined us here, George Orchilles, who has published his view on the evolution of offensive security, going from vulnerability assessment up to what is the most mature offensive arts that you can practice. Mr. Orchilles.
Thank you very much, Master. So
Cybermaster,
yeah,
Master Cyber.
It's your colleague Sun Tzu has that quote that we used to see before every single InfoSec talk about if you know your organization, you know your attacker, you will do great in a whole bunch of battles and whatnot. So that's the offensive side. You start understanding yourself, right? Vulnerability management, vulnerability scanning, know what you have in your organization, test it, validate those vulnerabilities, prioritize them, get them fixed. Then you start going a little deeper and actually exploiting some vulnerabilities through penetration testing. Then you realize that it's not only technology, but also people and process. And that's where red teaming comes in. And no longer are you reporting open and closed findings. You are reporting time. It took this long to get in. It took this long to detect, back to your 1-10-60 goal. And a lot of that comes down to emulating adversaries and building these attack chains that give you a better chance of detecting when someone's inside your network, because at the end of the day, it's your house, and who knows your house better than you?
That is an excellent quote. Do you have more wisdom to share with us today, Master?
Master Cyber.
Sun Tzu, I believe, is like might or attack, mandatory to be quoted at least once at one of these things. Good guy. And thank you for not saying Clausewitz. I appreciate that. That was the military reference we brought up. But yes, most importantly, as we have seen many times, you have to know yourself first. As you nerds would call it, configuration management, understanding your assets, understanding their status. And only from there can we look then at the attack phases of where an opponent sizes you up, attacks, initial access, and then that post-attack phase.
Well said. I'm going to read that in a cyber fortune cookie one day, I think.
It's a long fortune cookie.
Do you have to go on a journey now?
I do.
Well, we will top of the morning, Cybermaster Cyber. Do we have any music for the master here on his way out? We do.
I can hear the cherry blossoms calling.
Farewell, ye master.
The man bun was epic. There's a professional photographer there though, taking pictures of each of these, right?
We hope so.
Is it only our screenshots from Zoom?
We've got the ability to record in high definition here.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah, that was almost a little scary.
Yes. So now for our guests, we're going to talk really kind of a different angle here. We're going to talk with Tatyana and Chris Steed about cyber policy, politics, the new administration. So for folks who are watching, Tatyana, I haven't had a chance to actually have you properly introduce yourself. You're joining us today from R Street. Tell us a little bit about you and maybe give us your thoughts on the new administration and some things that have been going on in cyber here.
Yeah, so I'm Tatyana Bolton. I'm the policy director at R Street for cybersecurity and emerging threats. Don't you love R Street where I am right now? Isn't it great? It's lovely. So yeah, the new administration, very interesting start. Quite honestly, I was hoping for more. I was hoping that we would get off to a quicker start. One of the things that, so I worked on the Solarium Commission. One of the things that, we pushed was the National Cyber Director. And we've seen the appointment of several fantastic people, right? Ann Newberger, Tim Maurer went over to DHS. I think Rob Silvers is coming to CISA, but we still haven't seen the appointment of that CISA director officially. We haven't seen the National Cyber Director office get stood up. Obviously, they're waiting a little bit on appropriations, but I think that, what I'm most surprised is that while they're responding to the SolarWinds hack, the Microsoft Exchange hack, and probably helping to support the EU as they're dealing with a breach, I think, themselves, we need cyber leadership. So I'm actually quite surprised that we aren't seeing, a cyber master in one of those top roles.
He's busy doing this interview.
Yes.
Hey, Christy, can you say hello and give us a little bit more of a formal intro?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Ron, and thank you for organizing this. This is a lot of fun, especially seeing that beard finally come off of Bryson. It's been a long time coming. So Chris Steed. So I am a managing director at Paladin Capital Group. I'm our chief investment officer. What we focus on are those products, services, and technologies that sit at that intersection point between both the government world as well as the commercial world. And with that, heavy focus in and around cybersecurity, cyber resiliency, and digital risk management, as well as digital infrastructure construction. A lot of what we try to do is enable new technologies to be built with things like safety, security, and trust from the ground up, and then being able to proactively monitor your infrastructure in real time. If you can't defend what you can't see. And until you get that full network picture, and that includes not just your physical and networked infrastructure, that also includes your human infrastructure. And so what we intend to continue to do is focus on that. We've been around for 20 years, and many of our investments, including an investment in Scythe, are focused on that. How do we give people the right tools to better understand themselves and also better understand the environment that they're operating in? And so, one of the biggest things, that I'm looking for, and Tatyana hit right on it, I am eagerly awaiting the appointment of the National Cyber Director. I mean, we do need a proactive whole of nation cyber defense campaign in order to really bolster our national security. The four key elements, and Tatyana knows them. I mean, cyber deterrence, active cyber defense, offensive cyber actions, and then incident response. And we've got to have this coherent picture come together between and among the private sector and public sector, really, in order to defend what's ours, which is innovation, freedom of thought, freedom of thinking, and our democracy as a whole.
So one of the things that's happening, and a lot of the concentration with cyber, is at the government level, is for the government, for the DoD, and not necessarily for the public sector. I mean, what do you think the administration should be doing, or everybody, in order to protect the public?
It's funding. I mean, what we need is more capital going into the environment and encouraging individuals that are in the commercial sector to come and help government, and then those in the government sector to better transition over to commercial. I mean, it really starts with those people, those operators, and it starts at that grassroots level, making people comfortable that they can come out of, let's say, cyber command and want to work in a bank, or people that have been on the front lines as a part of an antivirus company now wanting to come government because they see some of the most advanced techniques from an attack perspective happening against them first, against their own infrastructure. And so it's both money as well as facilitating this cross-pollination of talent that comes from both sides of that aisle.
Tatyana, any comments on that?
Yeah, I mean, I just, I could not stress that funding and people piece enough. Like, between the two of those things there, if we could fix sort of I would say right size our risk perspective in the way that we fund cybersecurity versus broader national security and defense. Because right now we fund cybersecurity at 1/100th of how much we fund traditional defense, the Defense Department. And that's just, I mean, I don't know, ludicrous at this point. You know, we're getting hacked daily and having massive breaches where our adversaries are owning our networks. We still won't put enough money into it to defend that. And, you know, you see people say things like, well, you know, Cyndi spent 10 billion to build CDM, right? Or Einstein. And my response is, okay, but how much money would it take to build an actual functioning model, right? Like how much would it take to update that yearly and, you know, put in the money and the resources you need? And so I think we need to fix that. We need to fix, like Chris said, the relationship between government and industry so that we can have public-private partnership, but we can also have people going back and forth between. So like one of the things that I think is a great idea is creating kind of like a cyber foreign service within the government where you can kind of transition, or a national service where we expand national service so you can do a year or two, and cybersecurity is part of that, right? Make that make CISA, make service at DHS as exciting and as competitive as applying to like the NSA and the CIA, which are very competitive positions. They get tons of applicants. We need the same thing for CISA.
So I think that's well said. And I think we're going to have more questions for both of you on this topics of national security. But from our vantage here, we see these travelers coming and going, and there is another traveler, perhaps a hostile traveler, coming our way at the moment. And he has theme music.
Go ahead.
Oh, we will stall for a second.
Play,
I think we can play. We can
said
give it
music.
to you. We can play it. Here we go. There we go. All right.
Oh, what in the world are you now? Oh God.
Oh man.
Sir, how are you?
Where am I?
You're on the Great Shave show.
Felt like I was in a goddamn roller coaster.
Oh my.
You smell like a brewery, sir.
Rum, you bastard.
Yeah, a distillery. There we go.
There we go.
That is some proper rum there.
All right, I've asked you, mateys, what do you want?
I would like to know, are you here to harm us? Are you here to take our data? What are you here for?
We pirates. We prey on the weak.
They're going to encrypt our data.
I don't know what that is, but is this data worth something? I feel like there's something about data care I've been hearing. Is data worth something?
Oh, I think so. Certainly people think so on the internet.
What's this internet?
I don't know. You tell us.
I know the fine seas. They call to me. The lusty maiden, just waiting, like all of your computers. Oh, I do know what computers are.
Okay, there we go. I knew you'd get there. Oh, the cloud is gone. The fog is
clearing.
clearing.
Let's get more fog.
Yes, there we go.
I've heard about the cloud. Do you know what a pirate's favorite letter is?
No.
R.
Arr! Nay, 'tis the sea that we love.
Very good. Very good.
Wow.
So I come and I speak on behalf of all pirates, and I'm not going to do it in a ridiculous accent because it's too hard to keep it up. Plus, I'm now starting to feel the rum. I get really in character just now the way I expected. Stuff is quite delicious. What is it?
It's
USS Constellation. Oh, there's a story behind this.
Yes.
I probably shouldn't have been swigging this right out of the bottle. This is good rum.
And now we'll do a plug for the Inner Harbor ships of Baltimore. And
it's rum that was actually distilled on the USS Constellation ship in Baltimore. It's over 200 years old, and they distilled the rum actually on the ship as it was swaying in the water.
And this $5,000 antique bottle of rum will be Bryson's parting gift today.
At least I didn't spill it on the ground when I was doing me silliness.
So as a cyber pirate, are you a cyber pirate of the high internet seas?
Yes.
What are your techniques? Like, who do you look for? How do you get in and encrypt this data?
Ta-ta!
So the pirates' favorite attack of choice has been ransomware. We like the booty. We like to keep it. For all of you sickies out there, that is gold.
Not Bitcoin. Ooh.
I like to be paid in Bitcoin. That it is true, because it is theoretically harder to find me. Although that's not completely true. See asterisks in fine print. We can find you. But in the meantime, yes. So one of the easiest ways for us to get our treasure has been ransomware. And this scourge has only been increasing, as we've seen since the start of 2020. It has grown, I believe, 7 times last year, and is only continuing. This is where I am one of the better pirates. There are, nastier pirates out there who do prey upon hospitals. I'm more of the kind that will take down a manufacturing plant, and like what has happened quite recently to a few manufacturing plants. I won't give any names because I'm under NDA.
A pirate that honors non-disclosure
It's the
agreements.
pirate
You
code.
have to have a code.
That's great. That's great.
All pirates have codes.
That's right. That's right. So as a pirate, do you go from port to port looking for potential booty? What do you look for here?
Port scanning is a part of reconnaissance. I want to see the open ports there. Thank you for your nerd network reference. Again, I can't keep a consistent accent going here. It's just all over the place.
Can you quote Highlander for us?
Can I quote? There can be only one.
This costume counts for that too.
Okay, I guess I can also pretend to be Scottish. I mean, can't do it as badly as Sean Connery can, right? Orange juice. The only word I can do in Sean Connery. Orange juice.
Juice.
So as a pirate going from port to port, what kind of victims are you looking for?
So we'll be, again, getting to this in the next character, the haves and the have-nots.
All of these characters have aft-form knowledge of who's coming next.
Yes.
It's amazing.
So this is my personal fear for all of you. While I am a pirate of honor and integrity, I tend to prey on the haves. It's harder to take down a larger ship. Sometimes they have a Royal Navy nearby that they can call, and I have to get out of there very quickly. I'm not going toe to toe with that. You've seen what those seals can do. The pirates that I personally fear are the ones that prey on the small and medium-sized ships. These are smaller proprietors. They tend to not have the armament to defend themselves. Somehow I've settled into an accent that I can keep going, and if I stop talking, I'll lose it. Those are the ones that I fear the most. They don't have the resources to keep their ships afloat. One bad voyage, attacked and beset by pirates, robbed, and they're out of business forever.
Do you have boats sometimes that perhaps as you're getting a foothold on that ship, on that boat, they somehow can detect you very quickly, and you quickly don't engage them? Perhaps even in under a minute.
No, I still go after them. They just kick me out pretty quickly. One of the disadvantages of this space is I can do this all day long, and you can't do anything to stop me permanently. I can continue to, you burn my ship, it's easy to build another one. Thank you, Amazon. Thank you, Microsoft. Thank you, Google Cloud.
When you're on the high seas of the internet, do you ever run into other pirates and share techniques and share information about targets?
Not to be cliche here and quote the dark web.
The dark web seas. Dark web.
I feel like that needs to be a thing. Every time someone says dark web, we all need to do something. Dark web. Is that could be our thing?
Yes.
Yeah. Letterkenny.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Different character. Maybe Letterkenny will come by today.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I've heard about Letterkenny. Is it really as funny as everybody says?
It's very
is.
funny. It's very, very funny.
And he does the dark web thing?
One of the characters.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, dark web. Yes. So that is, there's two aspects to that. One, cyber criminals, certainly that is their internet of choice, infrastructure of choice. That's where they all meet, hang out, drink not as good rum as this. Does this really have an actual number on it? Wow. I just asked for a bottle of rum, dude. You weren't supposed to get into good stuff. It was a prop, man. It was supposed to be a prop.
We have nothing but good stuff.
High quality show, high quality entertainment, Saturday afternoons.
So there are two aspects of this. So the first was what I'm talking about, where they're there and they're sharing tools. These tools are actually quite cheap. This is something I've been speaking about for a number of years. Is I've been concerned about what I call the democratization of offense, which is the fact that you don't have to be technically sophisticated yourself to get access to tools that can do great and wide-ranging collateral damage. One of the things that we've seen, and this is something for a long time, it really reflects a shift in what we'll call the nation state level of the game, which has been the use of proxies. So we have seen the Russians use more amateur groups in other countries, where they get propped up with tools. We've seen some false flags where they've repurposed tools for that. And the thing that changed the most in that game is when cyber was much more cloak and dagger and really clandestine, like nobody's doing cyber warfare. And like we all actually kind of like meant that, but it wasn't true. Control was the primary aspect, right? I didn't want this stuff getting out anywhere. There are only a few options. Now with the use of proxies, we're not as worried about control. We're not as worried about them getting caught or breaking something or doing any of that. And then the third level, of course, is the different nation states and all of their different motives.
So as a cyber pirate, have you ever been, I don't know, enlisted by a nation state to attack a target?
I have. In fact, young
they
lady Bolton and I were postulating to Lord Lingas's tweet the other day about how the North Koreans got caught with their hands in a South African logistics honeypot. And we were coming up with some hypotheses on why that might be. Personally, when I look at the North Koreans, they truly are pirates like me. Their sole singular focus is getting hard currency.
Money, 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 money.
So as I simplify this, dear leader needs to be plied with the best rums, the fastest cars, and that all requires hard currency because, as we all know, North Korea does not produce any of that on their own. And just like we saw with the back during the Cold War, the Soviets did similar things, not necessarily to keep their dear leader plied with those Western goods, although that was a thing, but more you needed hard currency to establish a stage for action, right? If I'm doing an intelligence operation, I needed that currency because no one was going to take rubles, just like whatever the hell the currency of North Korea is, nobody's taking that either. And so there's an example of where I think we saw nation state doing a direct attack for something that more crosses into an amateur or a criminal sense, because that's kind of like their whole MO.
So as a pirate, you're on the sea, you're attacking these targets. Do you fish these targets?
This one you did practice for. I see that. So phishing is still the most common initial access vector that we see. Why? It's easy to throw a line into the water. It costs almost nothing to throw millions of lines into the water, metaphorically speaking, because of course, physically throwing a fishing line a million times would be difficult. But yes, for computer phishing, it costs me little to no difference to throw 1, to throw 10, I'll get in. Once I'm in, it's all about breakout, going back to Lord Alperovich's 11060 rule set about trying to contain an attacker.
Is he Lord Alperovich or Tsar Alperovich? I forget.
I'm not going to
not
step into that one after what we saw a couple of years ago.
Yes.
About our poor friend getting dragged.
Excellent. As you go around the internet world and you're going from port to port, sea to sea, are there certain ports that are more easy to break into than others? Like from a nation point of view, you said you didn't do hospitals, for example, but you did that. But what are some targets that are out there?
Well, we talked about phishing. Anybody with an email address is a potential target. I think I will note that no matter how much training you do in phishing, I'm still boarding that boat if I want to. Right? It's just not. That's not the issue. We know that people are the largest purchase for me to get access into that ship, but it's not the user's fault. We as an industry, y'all as an industry, you people, not me, not pirates.
What do you mean by you people? Anyway, so as a pirate cyber captain leader, do you have to recruit your crew? Where do you recruit these people from? Do you even recruit them from some of the places you might even be attacking from?
The insider threat. Yes. So the disgruntled employee is more common than you think.
The mutiny?
So Sir Bryson, who I'm familiar with, he has a map of the world of 3 kinds of people. And this is going to be a strange metaphorical shift as we start talking about horses. So
from a pirate.
From a pirate, yes. So Sir Bryson's view of the world is there's 3 kinds of people, and they map to 3 kinds of horses. Racehorses, your top 10%. These are your go-getters who make change in any organization. They make it happen. Your middle 80% are your workhorses. They just left to right, go around the track, carry the heavy load. Bottom 10% are asses. Now, an ass doesn't necessarily mean they're incompetent. You can be very smart and decide that you are against an organization. I would categorize an insider threat as an asset that is ripe to become an ass.
Oh,
and
wow.
there you have it, folks. That's the quotable quote from
Cyber Pirate.
Cyber Pirate. That is awesome.
Yeah, you never did ask me my name.
Yes.
Well, what is your name?
I don't know. I didn't think of one.
Cyber Pirate. Arr.
Arr!
Is the tide ripe for your journey to begin next?
It is. And I feel like for comedic purposes, I should take a swig out of this bottle, but.
No, please do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just don't pass it over here yet.
Hey, you know what? That scurvy's gone. That's what the doctor told me anyway.
Awesome. Well, Sir Pirate, be safe on the high seas. I hope Nemo or Poseidon protects you, or, oh my goodness. And we've lost him. We've lost
He's down.
him.
He's down.
Oh, don't forget your knife. That's not a good thing to have or to lose. Wow. There he goes. Maybe some outgoing pirate music. We'll see. It's still kind of, there we go.
This isn't Disney, dude.
Awesome. So where were we? I think we were speaking with Tatyana and Chris.
Yes.
About cyber politics and maybe how to stop these things. So the question I have for both of you again is, well, I didn't ask this. I was going to ask this. Defend forward. So give us your takes. We'll start with Tatyana. What is defend forward? And then the question I'd love to ask everybody is it working?
Well, so.
Oh, wow. Look,
Yeah, wait, you
she
changed
just
your
won. She got
background.
the heavy
Holy
seas
cow,
now.
wow.
Like her background's all
Oh,
different.
yes. Oh, yeah. Well, I thought I'd pirate it up, change it up. I felt a little boring with my background at that. I'd, do a little.
Oh, all right.
Anyway, so defend forward is basically the concept that we can't sit back and watch these attackers come in, right? If we're sort of assuming breach, then the United States' posture should be more out there. We should be on other networks, seeing what they're doing, tracking their behavior, getting more information on the adversary. And so it's a general sort of, it's not a tactic so much as just like a mindset that we need to be out there in order to properly defend ourselves. Is it working? I think it's too early to tell. I mean, we've only been doing this, I would argue maybe the last 5 years. And again, going back to the whole fully resourced piece, if you aren't sort of fully resourcing any of these activities, I don't think that you can appropriately blame them for their success or failure, or for their failure, I guess. So I think that we've seen more ransomware. We've seen sort of continued hacks and major breaches like SolarWinds. We've seen China continue to exfiltrate information, to hack large amounts of data, to steal IP, possibly steal DNA. We've seen Russia continue to try to meddle with our elections, although 2020 not as much, according to CISA and DHS. So I think we just have to see what happens over the course of the next 5 years. If we want to go that way, and I think we should be more proactive. We need to fully resource it. Cybercom gets more funding than CISA, but I think that if you look at the full $780 billion a year that DoD gets, and Cybercom gets 10, I think we really need to reconsider that.
Yeah, Chris, any thoughts on Defend Forward, and is it working? Chris might be coming off of mute. So if you're going to come back, Chris, we'll ask you another question there. So let's go back to the some of the policies about funding. So one of the things that we're seeing right now is more state level funding, right? So the Florida is getting ready to do a cyber task force. They're going to pass like $30-40 million. We've seen different states try to be more proactive, and Cyndi and I have talked to a number of governors where we've been said, look, you guys could be rolling your own Einstein programs. You should be rolling your own CISA programs. You should have the same level of cyber infrastructure protection as you do for healthcare.
Yes, definitely for the healthcare type of thing. Again, put in the plug in for data care. If we can leverage what they've done and what they know and how they've been able to structure the healthcare organization, we need a Dr. Fauci of cyber. We need federal public responsibility data care. We need state responsibility data care. We need then continue down to the counties and local areas. So there's all this structure and I guess information that we can just hijack and utilize and repurpose, so to speak.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, so right now, the way we have it structured is that there's a federal agency that coordinates with other federal agencies. So CISA works with other federal agencies, and you've got a varied amalgam of state efforts that some are excellent, like Michigan, and some are terrible. I won't name them. And so, we've got to raise all of that up, right? And I would say even starting at the local and municipal level. You've seen the attacks on Baltimore, right? Where they knocked out the entire payment systems. They couldn't take taxes or parking tickets. I mean, too bad about that. But they couldn't take in any. They couldn't take payments. They messed with their water systems. It's a problem. So I think we structure FEMA, right, the same way that the federal response there for natural disasters is a supplemental response and support for local and state efforts. We need the same thing for cybersecurity. We need to improve our National Guard. We need to which has state level cyber response capabilities, but not well organized, not properly coordinated with the federal efforts. We need to do all of that and then properly resource all of it at the state level. They can do the first responders, and then the federal efforts can supplement and support in cases of massive breaches.
Excellent. Hey, Chris, Steed, any comments on Defend Forward, and is it working? And then what can be done at the state and local level to enhance preparedness for cybersecurity responses and prevention?
Yeah, absolutely. And, one of the key things that, we're looking for, and I'm a big proponent of Defend Forward, but one of the things that we're looking for are those, signals of success, but possibly more importantly, signals of failure. What we're beginning to hear, especially from the corporate environment, as they are now taking more of a Defend Forward mindset, they are finding that there are other people in the network. And those other people in the network, when it comes to their adversaries, when they reach back out, happen to be U.S. government organizations and agencies. And so I think the biggest thing, and Tatyana just touched upon it, is coordination. I mean, coordination between the public and the private sector. If you are a large Fortune 100 organization and you're getting attacked left and right, you have to defend your own cyberspace. And if that means going back out and retrieving what was stolen from you, I do believe that you should have the ability to do that, but you must be in coordination, because you're going to get in there and you may find others, and some of them may not be as friendly as our own U.S. government. And so coordination between and among, the, federal and state level, and then, it has to go over to, the large owners and operators of critical infrastructure, which are all private sector owned and operated, many of which are public companies whose primary goal is to be profitable. And so it's that balance that I think really needs to be established, and something that we're focused on, trying to make it a little bit more seamless for everybody to be operating on the same plane in a trusted way.
I think that's well said. So Tatyana, you worked on the cyberspace solarium, and I think everybody supports, what was suggested. I mean, more funding, a lot of laws, clear role at the White House for that. But if you search all of the report, you never see the words like security engineering. And we recently had Chris Krebs, former assistant director, actually come out and say something I've heard Ron Ross say, and I think a lot of people who are engineers say, it's like, we need to get back to fundamentals of secure infrastructure and that. So any comments on that? What can we do more to kind of be secure by default?
So, the way that we definitely considered that, it's just that the way in which we thought about it was some of the base levels of security, like how do you secure ISPs? How do you get, and we talked about that with our BGP recommendation and things like that. I completely agree. We also thought about, some of the problems are like open source repositories for code, and how do you make sure that the code that's going in there is secure, so that when other people use it, they're not using code that someone already realizes has vulnerabilities in it. And it's a really hard problem. I think that unfortunately, we just need to put more resources, more people looking at this, so that we can get in there and have the appropriate people looking at the problem and trying to figure out new technologies or new solutions. Because right now, I don't think we have an answer.
And Chris Steed, same question. And if you want, also comment on the cyber moonshot.
Yeah, absolutely. When we talk about cyber moonshots, we're explicitly using the words, cyber and not cybersecurity. And for that, what we're really looking for there is in the long term, drilling down from three core end goals, which is to make cyberspace safe, secure, and trusted for all people. And when we start to look at it from that perspective, I really do think, we can all take a step back, and I'll go back to what I said earlier. We're in this to try to do something good. We're in this to defend our innovation advantage. And we've had this innovation advantage now for the last 75, 80 years, since the end of World War II. Now that innovation advantage, and Bryson mentioned it, has become more democratized, and that's great. We want to see that. We want to see free thinking. We want to see more technologies out there being used and manipulated and broken down and rebuilt, by all of these communities where you never had the ability to do so before, because you were prohibited by cost or lack of bandwidth. Now that those barriers are down, that's a big thing that we want to support. But at the same time, we have to look at organizations, and especially ones that we're funding, or customers of the companies that we're funding, as they need to be good stewards of their infrastructure. I mean, if you're a Facebook, you are now part of U.S. critical infrastructure. If you are an energy operator, you're obviously a part of U.S. critical infrastructure. Telco and all of these things are connected by cyberspace. And so, as I look forward here, resources, no doubt, money, no doubt, but we've got to get down to, hey, we're all in this together. We're all suffering from the same maladies here when it comes to, Captain Cyber Gandalf, but at the end of the day,
Captain Cyber Master Gandalf.
Pirate.
That's right. There we go. That's a good name for it. But it's again, it's a whole of society approach. and sometimes it needs to be economic levers. I mean, sometimes it needs to be military or kinetic effect levers that we pull, political pressure, diplomatic pressure. You know, this is not just, you know, a war in cyberspace. I mean, this is a war to, you know, fight for freedom of innovation, freedom of thought, and again, democracy. And that's a big piece of, you know, where I think this space goes. And a lot of that will transform into defending our information infrastructure, which, you know, is the wave that I think is coming next.
So Chris, we'll stay on you for a second. The one of the proponents or tenets of the cyber moonshot was a well-educated general public. And in many ways, you know, we teach kids in school, home economics, you know, how banks work, how credit cards work, but we don't really teach them how social media works and how big tech kind of operates. What can both of you talk about as far as educating the non-technical public about what they need to be worried about with cybersecurity?
You know, digital literacy, I think, is a big issue, and there are some great both academics and speakers and thought leaders that are out there that are pushing that. You know, but what I honestly think, you know, we need is sort of like a good housekeeping for cyber, you know, that is in everyone's house. You know, so, you know, hey, it's probably not a good idea, you know, for your child to be on social media before, I don't know, pick an age, the age of 5. You know, I think that those types of things are clear, and they're not always learned. And we also got to acknowledge that, you know, while learning does happen at home, it also happens with your friends, with your teachers, with, you know, schooling and all of this stuff. And, you know, and so, you know, when it comes to, you know, those types of issues, you've got to start early. You've got to start young, because I think, you know, for a lot of the demographic that is, you know, now coming up through the ranks of the various organizations that we're part of, a very app-centric demographic, you know, not the bits and bytes centric, not really understanding how we got to where we are today, and why these things are, you know, now so popular. I mean, information infrastructure is now there. You know, how do we clean it? How do we get rid of misinformation, disinformation? How do we get people to be able to tell the difference between, you know, the truth and then falsities that are out there? And I don't know if I have the answer, but, you know, it has to start at home. It has to start at schools, you know, between and among your friends, you know, being able to identify the good and the bad on the internet. I really think that's half the battle.
So Tatyana, same question, but maybe to talk more specifically about Facebook and Google. You know, are these forces for good or evil from a society point of view?
Oh, good. An easy question. So, you know, on the education piece, all I'll say is that, like, I honestly believe that education is the only way to save the world. Like, I believe that it all starts there. All of society's ills, all of the problems we have, like racism, bigotry, you know, poor economic theory, like all of it starts with just bad education at the beginning. The United States is one of the most guilty at undervaluing and underfunding education. And we need to do that. We need to incorporate cybersecurity education as well as, you know, like, you know, financial education, like everything, right? Like, I just think that we're missing that in K-12. That was one of the recommendations from the commission as well, to fund that. In terms of Facebook and Google, you know, I don't know that. I think in everything there's a balance, and everything is good in moderation. So I think that, is Facebook a driver for good, or has it been a driver for good? Yes. I mean, I think it's connected a lot of people. Same with Google. Are there problems? Yes, there's massive problems. They've also, you know, obviously created as, you know, I don't know, we've gotten to this place in the US where, and other countries as well, like Brazil, where we've gotten to the Facebook helping the, you know, the breakup partly of our society because of the way in which we are self-selecting into groups and then only hearing an echo chamber of thoughts and ideas. So I think that that's
fake news, Tatyana. That doesn't happen.
No, you're right. I'm sorry. Fake news. But I think that there's moderation. So I think that Facebook and Google need to take it upon themselves to like recognize the role that they play in society broadly. And they do need to, perhaps there's a role for regulation there, perhaps, but I think they just generally need to accept like the role that they play and understand that there are areas where they can improve.
Well, that's really something. And I think one of the issues with this policy work is that, you know, some of us are, you know, on the have side of this, where we just have an immense amount of resources for that. And I think I hear one of these haves, these cyber haves, coming our way.
And it needs
Any second now.
I love the mustache.
That took a long time.
That is fantastic. Can you just stay like that?
Yeah, go back up for a second. I think we want to make sure people get a good look here.
Hold on. Let me see how much
Screenshot.
Oh my goodness. That is awesome. That is awesome.
Oh my goodness.
Wow. So, good sir, you look like somebody who has a embarrassment of cyber defenses and riches.
It's in my name. I am Lord Cyberbottom.
Lord Cyberbottom.
I actually spent time thinking of that one.
Not that long, apparently. But so Lord Cyberbottom, are you perhaps like a Fortune 10, Fortune 50 CISO? Who are you?
So it's hard for the common man to understand, Mr. Gula, but there are those of us who are above the fortune. We live in another atmosphere. It's hard to explain.
Sounds good. So within this other atmosphere, you probably have like one of every vendor defending your network on a day in and day out.
Yes. So to put it all in perspective, as the inestimable Wendy Mather talks about the cyber poverty line, there are the have-nots, the haves, and then people such as myself.
The really, really have a lot.
The really, really have a lot. Yes.
And do you still get broken into?
Unfortunately, yes.
Wow, that's insane. So do you have SIM?
Yes.
Do you have intrusion detection?
7.
Do you have endpoints?
Yes.
Do you have like managed detection and response?
Yes.
Do you have a red team?
You know what? If it was on that Momentum Cyber picture, I bought it.
Wow. And are you listening to like what Gartner and Forrester tells you to buy? Maybe.
Trying to debate how to answer that.
There you go. Bring the rum back. Bring the rum back. So yeah, now they have a lot of guidance to give to people and stuff, but people who have a lot of money to spend, do you have maybe the illusion of cybersecurity? You get lots of alerts, right?
Yes, it turns out that when you're wealthy, you get lots of everything. And when you have all of the products, unfortunately, my minions are overwhelmed with lots of alerts. This is true.
When you do a vulnerability scan, do you get a phone book?
Yes, Nessus provides us quite the phone book.
But it's all stuff that needs to be fixed, right? I think we just had a pirate in here who was looking for any open port.
So I disagree with you, Mr. Gula. It is not that everything must be treated equally. This is one of the things that we learn when we become insanely rich, is we have to choose our time and our detections wisely. Not all vulnerabilities are created equal.
Do you have a method for prioritizing and how to organize all of this embarrassment of riches that you have?
Besides having an entire financial firm that you've never heard of and you can't talk to, when it comes to my information security, yes, we have found that turns out you can't just buy and install anything. Even when you're rich, you have to do something about it. You have to make that product work for you. There are a number of ways to do that. I believe that Mr. Orchilles talked earlier about how you can have a maturity model of increasing the ability to provide what I would call this functional signal to drive and make sure that you are not just looking at a phone book, but in fact calling up who you want to have for dinner over at the club for the evening.
And with this embarrassment of riches, you probably have data that's really important to you and some data that's not that important to you. Is that how you map everything out? Do you put different assets everywhere and protect the stuff that's most important with the most defenses?
Yes, like all of your investments. There are investments that are worth more, that will potentially have more of a return on investment. And then there's those that you don't care so much, but you require. Every company is the same. Computers have different values, different purposes, different relative weights. Those crown jewels, much like my good friend Elizabeth, who has a few of them, you might have heard of them. That's where you should start. Going back to your phone book, sir. That phone book in context of those crown jewels is the beginning, and then working it out to start to understand a greater part of your empire.
So I believe I've heard you talk before about all of these different things you can buy on your network. And you said you like endpoint, you like perimeter defenses, you like patching, but you don't like honeypots. You don't like deception. Is that something that, even though you have the embarrassment of riches, that you don't deploy? I'm curious why.
I'm one of maybe 5 people on the planet who actually uses SOAR even. Honeypots. So it's not that I have an issue with honeypots. Like anything can have value. So here is my concern when it comes to honeypots and deception, is that I think it is down to when I'm looking at, am I in fact stopping the problem? No. Like many things, I fear that technologies that have great promise, the buyer, the user tends to trust too much in it. One of the things I do like very much about honeypots and deception technology is that you're going to give your adversary pause. Any heterogeneity, any way that you can get in their
Big word.
Thank you. I wish I could roll it off the tongue the way I rolled this mustache. Any time that you can get into your attackers' so-called OODA loop, something that gets in their head where they have to think just more. Attackers are not omniscient, unlike rich people like myself. We know things. They have to learn them. When they're in your network, they have to take their time, and things like deception and honeypots, knowing that exists, can trip them up or just make it take longer for them to get to where they're going.
So did you make your money, or do you come from like generational wealth?
Does it look like I've ever worked a day in my life?
There you go. So could you give some advice, let's say with this new administration and the new public's focus on cybersecurity, what advice can you give to organizations who are getting a budget for the first time? How should they start spending that money?
When we're talking about the federal government, I personally, I'm rich enough I don't have to pay taxes. It's true. What was the question again? The federal government. I think the federal government is also a representation of the have and the have-nots within, right? You see DoD, the intelligence community, haves. They have access to resources, money, people, that expertise that can, in fact, get them where they need to go. When we start looking at the other agencies, more of the federal civilian variety, more in the have-not category when it comes to cybersecurity. And there is an agency that was created and renamed a couple of years ago, the Cybersecurity Infrastructure Security Agency. It has security in the name twice. That's how you know it works, or someday will.
So nice, they named it twice.
So nice, they named it twice, yes. And I think that they don't have the resources they need either. When we look at them as the largest beneficiary and with their goal of looking at critical infrastructure and the domestic mission, there's only a little more than 2,000 people there compared to some large agency right next door to this home that has about 20 times as much, plus whatever that budget is. And so I think providing more of those resources, of course, we have to throw the peon to the public-private partnership, which is part of how we can get more progress in the critical infrastructure space. I think this is an area where federal government can provide more resources in terms of what I would call a technical service catalog. Have a list of things, curate a central managed catalog that the lesser, that's not fair. Just those without can benefit from it. Looking at water plants, for example, I feel like there's a state, Florida, I've heard of it, would never go there myself, that, sorry, Mr. Orchilles, that why there are what I think 40, 50,000 different organizations that manage just water. Why should we try to solve that problem 40 to 50,000 times each time? It's not that they're that different. And then when we look out at the commercial landscape, we only see the spend growing in cybersecurity because the need for scalable information technology has become the Siamese twin with modern business.
With all of your amazing resources to run a cyber defensive organization, do you have enough people? Can you buy all the people you need? What are you doing for the people?
We get to the challenge of there are oft quoted statistics that there are not enough people. I think it's a slightly specious, there's a fallacious perspective there. And the fallacy is that it's not that there aren't enough people. I think that we gatekeep too often to not let people in. Not everybody can inherit these opportunities. Sometimes we have to give them the chance. And I think there are a lot of people who have those skill sets who have knocked on those doors and been turned away. And I think that we as an industry are all poorer for it. Your philanthropic organization has recently has invested money in trying to solve that problem. And I think our audience would be interested in hearing about that.
No, go ahead.
Oh, come on.
No, go ahead.
So I would be curious with your infinite resources, if you thought perhaps the cybersecurity industry was pitching itself incorrectly, and maybe we should pitch it for data care, telling people that they should come in and have some personal responsibility and understand that they might have a great career working for a man such as yourself. There are women in your organization, aren't there?
Yes,
okay.
We're all inclusive. We believe in welcoming everybody to the table that can work. Honest day's wages for an honest day's work.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah, so the concept of data care, I think, gets to a challenge. Just like people such as the rest of you can't understand somebody as rich as me, I think that most people don't really understand computers. And so this concept that you came up with about, well, don't worry about all those complexities of computer, understanding the impact to my life of the fact that these are data processing machines, my data that represents something specific to me, right? My bank account is not something that is abstract. That's my money. Well, my bank account is abstract because they haven't created a number that large.
No, I definitely agree. How do we get people to understand with that messaging that the data is not somebody else's problem? How do you make everybody else understand that you're paying to solve your problems, however, they have similar issues?
I think we see this challenge a lot in our space where, first of all, it starts with that education to the layperson. The second, I think, is what I would call the call to the community. There are experts who I think need to help both providing technical resources. Of course, they're the ones who are going to help provide that education. And then I think there are regulatory improvements that we need to have where these things are more transparent. A simple example would be, who has ever read a EULA? No one has ever read a EULA.
Unfortunately, I have. I've written a couple too, so yeah.
Strange bird, madam. For the rest of us, which I am in fact in that group, has never read a EULA, I just click yes, I agree to all of the things. And when they provide me the updates, short of my firstborn, Lord Reginald, I have never read a EULA. But think of all of the things that are in that EULA, all of those rights. And this is something where it gets back to, I think we need to find an easier, simpler way to be able to communicate that information, so that even the layperson, they go to stores and stuff, I've heard of these things, they can be aware of what risk is to their privacy and to their data in all of the different services and products that they buy as they engage in this great art of commerce.
So with your wealth, do you do philanthropy?
Yes.
What are some organizations that you might support in cybersecurity?
I am pleased to announce that we are here today to call attention to a great nonprofit, the Women Society of Cyberjutsu. I feel like I need to twirl my mustache as I say that. I'm kind of nervous to do it. It took a lot of hairspray to get it to stay up. I've never done this before. It was not as simple as it looks, or maybe it looks worse than it is. I don't know. Let's just not touch it anymore. And Women's Society of Cyberjutsu, I believe we have supplied the link in the registration page. Dear sir, if you'd be so kind as to paste the link into the chat for those who would like to donate. They are advocating yet another mission of inclusivity and bringing more voices to bear to the table on cybersecurity.
We will be adding that into the show notes as well, which is great. Are there any parting words you want to leave with us, kind sir, kind rich, endowed cyber person?
Sir
Cyber bottom.
Cyber, yes, that's right. Cyber bottom.
Cyber bottom.
Are you related to Master Cybermaster? No? Do you come from a long line of pirates, cyber pirates?
Well, he was talking about the magic it takes to get your goods working together. So it takes magic in order to get all your products working together, even if you have infinite amount of money to buy them all.
I come from the industrial age. I don't believe in magic.
Well, I think CyberGandalf would certainly have something to say there.
So I think that the element of magic is that there has to be the belief that we can do this better. When it comes to what actually is the cold, hard steel of industry, it is that commitment, and it starts with the executive leadership believing that we can fund and we can do something about this and prioritizing this. It is that purple team concept of working together to make demonstrable quantitative improvements there. Don't go away and get a different kind of phone book, unlike the useful one that your product provides, but a phone book that can stay on the sidelines because we never get one. We make things change through Purple Team now.
Very good.
And do you practice the 1 minute, 10 minute, 60-minute practice that Lord Alperovich has spoken about to the US government, I believe?
Yes, he did testify recently to the House Armed Services Committee. He has previously testified to the Senate Armed Services Committee in 2018 on the concept. But yes, when we look at what science has taught us, mean time to detect, both in your technology and your people, their mean time to respond, and then more importantly, throwing that lout off of your property, mean time to remediate.
That's excellent. That's excellent. Well, kind sir, I'm sure as a bazillionaire, trillionaire, you are constantly going from meeting to meeting, probably talking about your next 11060 kind of incident response with your purple teams. Thank you so much for coming by today and sharing some wisdom with us.
Time is money, good sir. I bid you adieu.
Adieu.
Adieu. And a nice do that was. Wow. So that was unexpected. That
Yes.
was, have we ever interviewed a bazillionaire like that before?
Not in a top hat,
Wow. That's something.
or that we were aware.
We
of
have
at
our
the
share of
time.
top hats here at the Gula studios and whatnot. Well, excellent. Well, in this next segment, George, we're gonna talk with you about your career at Citibank and some work that you're doing with Scythe. So are you up to go there? Yeah, here we go.
Yeah.
Hi. Hey. So first of all, congratulations on a great Unicon 21 yesterday. So you said you had a couple hundred folks. How did it all go?
2,200.
Yeah, that's more than a couple hundred, right?
Yeah,
like 2,200
over
so.
7.5 hours. Was amazing. Thank you for coming on as well with the three winners. Was really amazing to have you all on there. And it was cool because it's our user conference. So like we get to hear other people kind of brag about how they use our tool and how they're helping their clients. We had small businesses there on, the best things you can do. And, it's for everyone, right? It's not just a big enterprises that get to get the shiny, expensive tools that you can actually fix people and process and not have to invest millions and millions of dollars. So had someone from healthcare there as well. Lawyer Liz, who's on here listening, wrapped it up with Megan Wu. Was a great talk on burnout and not getting burned out, which I think has to be talked about. And yeah, overall was fantastic. Had a great time. Was exhausted, but now I am rested up and here ready for this organized chaos that we've done here, all for a great cause.
Yeah, we really appreciate you bringing on and highlighting the Black Cybersecurity Association, Girl Security, and Empower on the show as well. Realizing that this isn't all about enterprises and about enterprise protection, that it's about personal protection. The public is not necessarily going to go to enterprises to get that information. So the nonprofits that are out there doing great work, helping defend people, helping people who have been affected or hacked or, been phished, helping the workforce that we're going to need in the future. I like the education K through gray instead of K through 12, because, we have so many people in society that need to understand this fast moving convenience that we have as the internet. And I don't think there's been enough stopping for the responsibility for the convenience. And how do we get people there?
And it turned out that you used, you worked with Empower when you were at Citibank. And I think that's probably worth commenting on here as well.
Yeah, that was a big thing. So I started at Citi in the offensive team, right? As a vulnerability assessment analyst. We didn't even do pen tests yet and things like that. Over the 10 years, built out the pen test team, the red team, and grew the team to 145, what we called ethical hackers. Now we call them offensive analysts. But, those older names stay around, right? And grew a large team globally, and obviously hard to do that. And we used a variety of ways. One of them was through Empower out of New York. One of our senior managers was a big fan of Empower. And I got to see it firsthand when I was there. I didn't really know. They're like, hey, we have some analysts. They come from Empower. Can you interview some of them and see? And I didn't know much about it. I interviewed people, and, a few of them that I can name their names right now went and started as, analysts, just getting into information security, weren't even that knowledgeable in IT as a whole, right? Very new to the industry, and seen them grow and, report at C-level items to our board and whatnot, and see them go all the way from, an analyst to all the different steps at Citi, right? Everyone has their own thing, and it was great. It was amazing, and not just one person, right? Multiple people, and it was just good. That was another way of bringing people in. And when I saw Empower yesterday, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's amazing, amazing work. A lot of people only see results and don't see all the work that went in the background. So that's amazing.
And how did you get your start in cybersecurity? How did you end up at Citibank?
So I was a system administrator, started doing actually in high school. I really wanted a car, and what I had to do was go and
we don't pitch
out.
I'm sorry, we just don't pitch that like cybersecurity is a way to have a career and make money and buy cars, right?
Right. Well, it wasn't back then. I was just helping around my neighborhood, charging $30 to remove people's viruses from their home machines. And then as I started doing that, just a little hustle, right? Got into it, started doing more consulting. Then I went and I interviewed. I went to a job fair at Florida International University, which was our local college down here, interview for an intern job, and ended up getting a junior system admin at a company called Terramark. And that really is where all of this started. Terramark was later bought by Verizon, but had an amazing cybersecurity team. And I'd see them walking around oh my gosh, you all are so cool. You work with all those computers and all those monitors, and you're doing this stuff. And I just asked questions and try to get involved. And my first gig was a security operations center analyst. My first day that I was by myself was July 4th, 2009. And if you don't recall off the top of the head what occurred that day, there was a large DDoS attack against some government sites. And we were the pilot for GSA, Department of Transportation, Whitehouse.gov, and Veterans Affairs. And day one, all by myself there, see the net flows going crazy. And the little phone rings. It's the office of the president. And yeah, that was day one. Was great. Loved it ever since. But then after that, I'm like, all right, this is I like the defense part, but I also like the offense. And through networking, I found the gig at Citi.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, no, I love their story. Again, just to remind people that it's local, like start local, personal, then local, and you can grow on beyond that. And another thing that we don't do well in cyber is to say that growth trajectory is a little bit defined by you and your ability to learn and want to learn more. And there's not a lot of industries that can say that you can advance through just based on your own talent and your own energies and interest. And cyber is really one of those that we see plenty of people be able to continue to increase their technology and their footprint just by themselves.
Yeah, no, and really the community and helping out, right? I started locally. ISSA down in South Florida is pretty big. There's also OWASP. There was a hacker space called Hack Miami. And just going and asking the questions and people like responding to you, right? And being nice and inclusive and all that. So, obviously South Florida is a little different than the rest of the US, given like how big of a melting pot it is. Like, I think there's places you go and people don't even speak English. Like it's a very big melting pot of people from all over the world. So appreciated that part, but yeah, it's all about being inclusive and helping people out.
And what led you to leave Citibank and go into what I consider private industry?
Yeah, Bryson convinced me. So I had been there 10 years, got up to director level, which is one grade down from pretty much the highest one. And I just saw that, I kind of had done a lot of the things. I think one of the last things I did, and just want to give out a shout out to Katie that's on here. She doesn't know this, but one of the hardest things that I did at Citi was building the vulnerability disclosure program of, someone finds an issue and they report it and then actually like do something about it. So her contributions to that really helped us there. And imagine a big 200-year-old bank trying to change their mind and their way of thinking about some of these things. They're like, no, only internal. We're never going to admit this. Things like that, and like changing that culture. But why leave? I mean, after 10 years, I had originally started as kind of an entrepreneur and wanted to do that and didn't want to get older and say, I never tried this. So I started asking questions. I really wanted to go out and do consulting, right? Run like kind of a red team shop, obviously a bunch of them out there and lots of friends. I talked to Dave Kennedy, to John Strand, to Ed Scotus, people from my SANS circle, and Bryson was one of those. And little by little, after a few months, the opportunity came up. I applied, and it worked out. It's a lot of fun.
And what do you do for Scythe? I mean, I know what you
chief
do, but I'm trying to get you to tell it.
Yeah, so I'm the chief technology officer at Scythe. We are a small startup, so I do everything. And Liz is on here. She appreciates that as well. She's lawyer Liz. Isn't just a lawyer, actually does a lot of other things at Scythe, even though you might think that she just reads EULAs. She doesn't. She does a jillion other things. And same here. I mean, we do a lot of working with our customers, working with our partners, understanding how they're using Scythe, and really kind of pushing that purple team because it's not a compliance checklist item. It's kind of innovative of going out and saying, hey, you got to work together. People don't know how to do that. So we've been kind of offering that as a professional service as well, apart from publishing a purple team exercise framework on how to do it. But it's a lot of culture. It's a lot of people, a lot of organizations not working under assumed breach and thinking that they can just pay and buy a bunch of technology and it's going to solve their problems. And it's people and process as well, right? So been doing that. Lots of fun, running things like Unicon, running the professional services. I also run the support team, which we just hired our first full-time support specialist. Elaine was someone that also wanted to get into security and like went out there. Like, well, out of everyone I interviewed, we had like 90 resumes. Out of all the people I interviewed, she was the only one that took our free workshop ahead of time and like showed that, you know, I want to learn about this. I want to see that, and ended up being the best candidate, and she's doing an awesome job. So I guess I run support, I run QC and a lot of other things, but yeah, it's a lot of fun.
So a little bit more on your personality and everything. You do have to tell us about the jersey that you have behind you so prominently.
Today is a very big day. Today is El Clásico. El Clásico is a soccer game between Real Madrid and Barcelona. They're currently within the top 3 in the Spanish league, and pretty much I think whoever wins today might end up taking the league. So that game starts here in about an hour and a half, and it's a very important game. I've been a Real Madrid fan since 2000. I've traveled and seen many games there. That's a signed jersey from a lot of the players. So I'm a big soccer fan. I actually got to play soccer for the first time in 14 months this week because I'm fully vaxxed down here in South Florida. We didn't do much right through all of COVID, but the rollout was decent. So now we get to play soccer again. I'm very excited about that. And shout out to Karen Walsh that says go Real Madrid. Yes.
Do you think the red teams, purple teams, you know, blue teams, do you think that's a more of an analogy for like soccer or basketball, where you have one team kind of switching from offense and defense?
Yeah, and that's a great thing. I've actually been talking to our head of marketing, who's a Colombian friend of mine that also loves soccer, and he's new to cybersecurity, but has been doing marketing for a while, and asked that same question, like, how can we apply how you train for soccer to how cybersecurity works? And I think the biggest one is that in soccer, you need to know how to defend and you need to know attack. Of course, you have forwards that are much better at attack. You have defenders that are much better at defense, but they both have to understand both sides. And that's exactly what purple teaming is, right? Is I might be better at red teaming, yet if I learn from the defenders what they're doing and I train with them, and you do, right? Like every sport you train. You don't just go into the ring and fight, right? You don't just go and play the World Cup final. So yeah, I think our midfielders are probably the biggest purple teamers. The forwards are the red teamers. The defenders are the blue teamers. I think that's a great
excellent
analogy.
And then how long have you been at Scythe?
I've been 9 months, and I know that because my daughter was born like 3 weeks right after I joined. So
and
that's
you've never seen the CEO and Bryson. You've never seen him unshaved recently, right?
I have not.
Well, I hear that he is a former intelligence officer, and I hear that he's almost ready to kind of join us as unshaven, well, clean shaven Bryson Bort.
But not quite yet.
Not quite yet?
No.
No, right
we
now.
have another guest.
No, this is him. Okay. I'm off script.
Okay.
So very good. Here he comes. Welcome back to the land of the shaved.
Thank you.
How's it feel?
I feel like Bort, Bryson Bort.
Ah, there we go.
You want a martini with some, I don't know, shaken, not stirred?
That sounds better than drinking out of a bottle.
That's
a little more
good.
civil, at least.
How was the whole shaving experience?
So I had been planning this in my head for quite a while. I didn't know exactly how all of the different characters were going to work out. I know that you've been you've been encouraging me to get back to this look for some time.
Most of your investors, most of the media, people,
anybody
from
who
CBS,
see you,
yeah.
A couple people you work for.
I'm back, baby.
There you go. There you
There
go.
we go.
That's
All
good.
right.
That's good. That's good. Now, before you grew the beard, if you could just kind of look to the left a little bit and check out the little bit thing going behind here. Yes, you are keeping a little bit of longer
Or the
hair
other
now.
side, maybe.
Yes.
The other way. There we go.
Yeah, there you
now
go.
we can
So
see
is
it.
that a man bun?
I don't know what it's called. For now, I mean, you and I talked about this. We tried to see if we could get a barber here to be able to do the whole thing. So instead, it was much more of a limited to here effort.
I don't see any blood. I don't see any.
I actually, for not having picked up a razor in 14 months, was quite successful, I think, and
Very
not
much.
cutting myself. I'm, you know, if I could give myself a
That's
hand,
good.
like,
That's good. That's good.
I actually
That's
pulled
good.
it off. My nose is still attached. It's impressive.
I just want to say, I called probably about 15, I'm going to say barbers, tailors, coiffures, and the conversation basically went, you want me to do what and go where for who? And then I never heard back from him. So, you know, it's all good. Even though I led with it's for charity.
So I am going to schedule a haircut in the next week or two. I am going to experiment with having longer hair. So I'm going to try that out. I've never had really hair this long ever. What I'm thinking is potentially getting, so I won't just look like it. It won't just be like just generally long. Like I'll actually style it. I mean, this is 14 months of nothing, right? Hopefully that looks like something. If that looks like it's going well, then I'm going to try to grow it out long enough to donate it.
Oh, that's great.
And then I'll go back to my usual short haircut. If it looks terrible, I might just go back to the short haircut.
Did the yoga and any of the other community things you did during COVID, did it help the hair grow, do you think?
I don't know if hacker yoga made my hair longer. Maybe crunchier.
I don't see any gray hair up there either, right? So running a startup can be kind of stressful sometimes, right? You like you're doing, get your young self there. It's all good.
Yeah. So I think that was one of the things that people are most amused about when I grew my beard out, is that it's pretty much almost all gray, but my hair on the top of my head is just naturally still brunette. I don't know how much longer that's going to go, but we'll find out.
Awesome. Well, we have a couple people on the line who've been sticking with us the whole day. Anything you want to say to them? Anything you want to talk about?
Since I'm now actually myself, first of all,
You can still do accents.
I think I'm gonna just, you know, crawl this one out. Not like I did the pirate. I'm gonna metaphorically crawl it out. Just stick with my natural voice. So I personally have pledged $2,500 to the Women's Society of Cyberjutsu. So I encourage all of you to also consider doing the same. If you're not aware, I actually do a weekly cooking show where we also highlight a number of charities each week with each unicorn chef. So I will be continuing to work with the community and trying to drive either engagement or donations. That's something I also would encourage folks, is that giving to charity doesn't mean that you have to give money. There are a lot of great organizations that just need time and your support. So that's another good way to give back to the community. It doesn't always have to be about money.
Yeah. And we appreciate you being on our foundation's advisory board, which is awesome. And you do a lot for many other nonprofits and charities, which I think is really, really cool. And you even got some open source projects that you do as part of Scythe, like the C2 matrix and things like that. So very cool stuff. Very cool stuff.
Yeah.
Should we thank our guests maybe? And
yeah.
All right, great. So Tatyana, George, Christopher, Steed, and I think we lost Mari, but Mari, she might still be here. Thank you so much.
She's just on the chat.
Yeah, that's excellent. That's excellent. So thanks everybody so much for coming on Saturday. Watching Bryson go through the I'll call them the facial hair acrobatics and some acting, which was great. Some improv,
Thank you.
which was great. Cyndi, you want to sign us out?
So again, thanks to everybody out there. Bryson, great job, great work. Keep it up, and keep up the shave kind of.
Most importantly, keep that stuff off your face.
Please.
Thank you. I got it, Cyndi.
Okay, great.
All right.
And thanks, Ron. You did a great job.
All right. Hey, have a great Saturday, everybody. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Bye.